All right, welcome everybody to ending week 7, going into week 8 for Pigskin Prognosis. We took a week off last week. As you guys know, I'm Sully. Zach, go ahead and
Hello, I'm Zach.
you guys should know. We ended it, like I said, we missed last week. Zach had a little commitment, and I couldn't figure out how to record an episode. So, yeah, here we are.
Yeah, I was playing in the Gay Softball World Series in Las Vegas.
And ended up losing. So,
We took 20th out of 69 teams in our division, so it wasn't too bad.
loss is a loss.
That's true. That's true. But
Panthers will end up finishing, 31st in the NFL out of 32 teams. So, they didn't finish last, I guess. Fucking positive outlook here.
no, I'm pretty sure that's going to be the Browns this year.
I mean, with the way the Patriots are playing too, shit, they might be in contention for that too.
Potentially.
But,
who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, big week of stuff to talk about this week. I know we missed a good amount with the Lions last week and everything else that happened, but we're back. For those of you that are listening or that do listen to us on your drive into work or just bored at home, whatever it may be, we do appreciate it. Yeah, let's get into it. All right. I'm going to go ahead and preface this with this isn't including any of the scores from the Chargers and Cardinals or the Tampa Ravens game that are currently happening right now. Tampa's got 2 minutes left, and then Chargers just started the fourth quarter at the time of this recording. So let's get into it. All right, so go start off with the highest scorers like we usually do. The first one was Jamar Gibbs with 32 points even. Came in with 15 carries, 116 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 receptions on 44 yards. If you're a running back in the Detroit Lions offense, the both of them have been off the charts. I know Montgomery ended up getting hurt for a little bit, but he ended up coming back. I think he twisted his ankle or something. I don't know what happened, but I know he came off the field for a little bit, came back, and in the meantime, Gibbs ended up holding it down for him.
Yeah, this was Gibbs' first 100-yard game on the ground this year. So coming off of a relatively disappointing performance last week with 9 points and only 63 yards on the ground with no touchdowns. He had 116 yards and 2 touchdowns. I think that's a pretty significant jump for him.
Oh yeah, it's like I said too. It's kind of hard to do, when you have the two of them running, because you're not too sure who's actually going to fully get the ball. It kind of seems to be whoever the hot hand is.
Yeah, and I know they trade in and out a lot because the quarterback just can't miss as of late, and the running backs are just plowing through everything and scoring a lot of points. So,
yep.
I mean, there's no stopping them.
Yep. And then shocker, we have Saquon Barkley at the second highest scores again before the games today at 26.7 points, 17 carries, 176 yards, 1 TD, 2 receptions for 11 yards. I mean, are we really surprised Barkley went and rushed for 176 yards against his old team?
No, not at all. I mean, he's been absolutely dominant all year, and you can see with how the Philadelphia Eagles are using him now. That's how the Giants should have used him, but I don't know. Fresh change of pace for him, and he's just smoking it in Philly.
And it's not, they got a good O-line still out there in Philly, and then he's not the only bell cow back there. He's got Jalen Hurts if he needs to rush, which kind of takes a little bit of pressure off of him. And then you got Devontae Smith and AJ Brown and fucking Dallas Goedert before he got hurt.
Yeah.
And then moving on to Joe Mixon, 26.4 points, 25 carries, 115 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 receptions for 9 yards. This has been a running back all top 5, again, not including the 2 games going on right now, which I think even the hires in this game, other than Lamar Jackson, will be at least a running back.
Derrick Henry, more than likely.
Oh, God, yeah, 100%, yeah. So they didn't quite make the list. Obviously, we made the script and did a little bit of recording during the games, but still, if anything, these guys might move into the spots a little bit more. But, yeah, good old Joe Mixon, man. I mean, he definitely seemed to be that offense this week, especially because Houston couldn't really get much going on. I mean, I got on our notes, I had CJ Stroud at 5.34 points. For some reason, I didn't put in his stats in our notes. That's my bad. But I think I talked about it actually later on in the game recaps. Let me pan down to that real quick. Yeah, he went 10 for 21 for 86 yards and no touchdowns. So,
Okay.
I mean, when you're only throwing less than 100 yards in a football game, you end up, going 24 to 22 against a team like the Packers. You kind of relying on either your defense or your running game. And it looks like it's definitely the running game.
Yeah, that was a pretty crazy game watching that. And it's been like that for both teams all year. Houston and Buffalo had that shootout. Minnesota and Green Bay had the shootout. That was pretty fun game to watch, and to have it come down to a game-winning field goal was pretty cool.
Yeah. And then, all right, so next up, fifth, sitting at Brees Hall, 26.1.2. Naturally, I'm playing against in one of my leagues. 12 carries, 38 yards, and a touchdown. Not amazing rushing numbers by any stretch of the imagination, but what kills you is the 6 receptions for 103 yards.
Yeah. If you're in a PPR league, if you're a PPR, that's 16.3 points. If you're not, it's still 10 points just on yards alone.
Yeah, which is
it's not gonna
fucking ridiculous.
It's gonna be tough. That's gonna be tough to beat when your running back has more receiving yards than probably a lot of receivers combined on that team.
Yeah, absolutely. Then we had Javonte Williams for Denver on Thursday night, coming in at 26.1, 14 carries, 88 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 receptions, and 23 yards. Not gonna lie, I wouldn't have called that, mostly because it seems like Denver hasn't been able to get their running game going all season. I'm pretty sure I actually dropped him in one of my leagues. I think it might have been my work league, but yeah, that kind of hurt.
Yeah, I would not have expected that either. But the Ravens game is still going on, so who knows? Derrick Henry, who's sitting at like 24.5 points right now, might step into that or 5th point. But yeah, as you said, time of recording.
Yeah,
wasn't on that.
Man needs literally 10 more yards pretty much, and he cracks into the top 10 passing Javonte. So
yeah.
But yeah, that was so far the top 10 or top 5 of the week, and then we'll do lowest scorers / surprisingly low scorers. I don't know why I didn't put any of their statistics in, but if you want to go ahead and lead us off with numero uno.
Yeah, Alvin Kamara. I could kind of expect that with the lack of offense from the Saints over the last 4 weeks. His performance specifically, I'm not going to say I'm not surprised, but I'm also more a lot like accepted. Is that the word? More accepting of it because of how their offense is just. It seems like their offense is in shambles right now. Rashid Shaheed is out for the year. Derek Carr is not playing. It's just a big. And that all happened within the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So
yeah,
I can expect something like that if your offensive coordinator or / head coach is also kind of has his he's on the chopping block, I guess, if you could say. So we'll see. Alvin Kamara's performance specifically, 8.4 points. Yeah, okay. Whatever. But their offense did nothing until the 4th quarter. There was like 6 minutes left when they scored their only touchdown of the night.
Yeah, some garbage time shit.
Yeah, exactly. And there's nothing you can do about that. So Xavier Worthy, another actually kind of surprising for how the KC team has been playing. 5.4 points. And against San Francisco, having 3 receptions on 8 targets, which means 5 drops. 3 receptions and 5 drops. That's going to get you a whole lot of no targets for the next couple of weeks. Yeah. Especially because this has been his highest targeted week all year at 8. but he's had no more than 3 catches in a game all year. So a little embarrassing on his point. He is at 19 yards, almost tied his lowest on the year, which was 17 yards. He did that twice, and then he had 1 rush for 5 yards. No touchdowns for him. And if you don't even have him in a PPR league, he is a monstrous 2.4 point person on the week. So those 3 receptions in a PPR league really help if you have him. They double his point value. And if you're not in a PPR league and you played him, then I'm very sorry for your loss this week. Yeah. Which is
not a good look. You would think he would do more, especially with Rice being out for the season.
Yeah, and that's something that you kind of expected his workload to increase, and it did, right? But you can't now. I think you can reasonably say that his lack of performance isn't because of lack of workload. As I just said, he had the highest amount of times he was targeted in the year, and he didn't even catch more than half. He didn't even catch half of his targets. Yeah. So I don't expect that to be something that you see more of in the future.
I mean, at least hope not. At least not for fantasy managers.
Right. So consider benching him if you have him.
Yeah. Then.
All right. So the next lowest score we have is a quarterback. We're done with our running back and wide receivers, which is honestly kind of surprising to see a low scoring quarterback on this roster. But he's CJ Stroud, 5.34 points for a total of 10 completions for 21 attempts, 86 yards, and 5 carries for less than 20 yards. He was at 19 rushing yards. 86 yards. Houston playing the Pack. Pack's got a good defense this year, but to hold up CJ Stroud, it's pretty impressive.
I mean, yeah, we have that too. And then you look at, especially just the fact that it was Joe Mixon's show, 115 yards. You can stop Stroud, and then, you have Joe Mixon that comes in there and goes for 115 yards and 2 touchdowns. So.
That's that is a valid point. Yeah, sure. But for the Pack to come up and hold one of the hottest quarterbacks in the league to sub 100 yards is something that I wouldn't have bet for.
No, God, no.
But yeah, 86 yards on the week for him, and that just I think that's a very abnormal week. So if you have CJ Stroud, don't be worried. Just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind when you're looking at his matchups in the future for decent pass defense teams. Sure. Going back to the Lions, we talked about including their running backs and how their running backs are on point this year. Their quarterback just can't miss. The unfortunate part about it is that their tight end, Sam Laporta, has been very quiet this year.
Yeah, non-fucking existent with the exception of last week, and that was just because of a 53-yard, 50-something yard touchdown throw.
Right, and that's just honestly something that I was not expecting at all this year. I was expecting him to be one of the top receivers for the team. He's only had double digits in fantasy points, again, depending on your league, once, which was last week against Dallas, and that was because of the 52-yard touchdown. That's his only touchdown on the year.
I was hoping to see some more info going on that, as far as more output from him this week. But, I mean...
If I'm looking at this right, so I'll jump the gun a little bit here, but it looks like Chris Godwin just broke his leg.
Yeah, I just saw him getting card off right now too, with 43 seconds left in the Bucks game. So we'll go ahead and talk about that here for a second. Yeah, I mean the fact that he's got that like inflatable boot cast that they actually have, and and he's getting carted off, usually not a good sign. That'd be probably the third leg injury, a third like broken / torn Achilles type thing that you've seen, which is unfortunate for Chris Godwin's, especially if they they end up pending the hamstring injury that they have with Mike Evans. him having just a metric fuck ton of 1,000-yard receiving seasons since he's been in the league.
Oh yeah,
but
that's
so yeah,
that's like 5 leg injuries in the last like 2 weeks. You had Aiden Hutchinson broke his femur. Someone else broke their femur. Someone from the Saints? Now Godwin looks like he broke his leg. Mike Evans was out with a hamstring injury.
yeah,
Deshaun Watson snapped his Achilles.
Let me see if I can actually replay it here real quick. This might look like it's the play. Oh yeah, that's not good. I just rewatched it. So he's laying on pretty much on his hands and knees, and his leg is just kind of just dangling there to the to facing his left. That's tough to watch. I won't be watching that again. But yeah, you hate to see it. A lot of I know the NFL tried to get rid of like the hip drop tackles and stuff to kind of try to prevent stuff like this, but yet it seems to be still pretty prevalent in people getting injured and stuff like that, especially for some reason this season. I'm not 100% sure why, but it's unfortunate. Hopefully I'm not going to pull like what an announcer say, oh, it's a cramp. Nope, that didn't look good. So, hopefully a quick recovery and speedy recovery, healthy recovery for Chris Godwin. It's unfortunate. It was rough to watch.
Yeah, his toes were facing the wrong way there. So
yeah, Anyway, we'll go back to the low scores before I throw up looking at that again.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, Sam Laporta, 3.5 points, and if you don't have him in a PPR league, then 2.5. Okay. Moving on, Deontay Johnson, 2.7 points. It kind of a rough day all around for the team, but
you want to talk about it?
I do. We were expecting, for your old players out there in Carolina, that he would be the saving grace. Him and I was gonna say DJ Moore, but he's not there anymore.
Yeah, he's been gone for a little bit now, but
yeah. But don't on the plus side, Sully, on the plus side, this isn't his worst game.
That doesn't make me fucking feel any better. I don't know if that was supposed to, but it fucking didn't.
No, it actually was supposed to make you feel terrible. He scored 1.7 points in a non-PPR league. That was last week against Washington. He scored 1.5 against the Chargers in week 2, 1.9 against New Orleans in week 1. Also had a solid game at 2.9 points against Chicago. That was 3 weeks ago. So yeah, he's a little bit. It's either and I will say it's either he's either hitting or he's not, because when he is scoring, he's scoring 13.8, 14.3, and 18.2. Again, these are non-PPR leagues, so you add in his 8, 7, and 6 receptions, you're looking at almost 20 points on all three of those games.
I'll go ahead and give people the PPR points. So yeah, week 3 was 26.2. Cincy was 21. This Washington week, not fucking fantastic, as we've talked about. And then the week before at Atlanta, 19.8. So, I mean, I started him, and I think I have him in almost every league I'm actually in. Unfortunately, now for this week, didn't put up numbers. The whole Carolina offense looked just fucking piss poor and miserable. Our only score came from our running back Chuba Hubbard. Thank God he did something. I mean, Dalton, just didn't look good. Was not thrilled about watching that game. But yeah. And then I guess I'll hit our last one real quick for the scores before we get into bets and game recaps and such. But so Jameson Williams, 0.6 points. Yet another Detroit Lion, 1 reception for -4 yards. That was the only target he had the whole game. In a team that scored 31 points. like that. God, that hurt me because I was looking at him. I was like, all right, cool. Like, I'll start him. I'll play him, and maybe he'll put up some decent numbers. I'm expecting St. Brown to kind of be covered. I mean, if anything, I'm going to have the tight end to Laporta. And this is coming off a Dallas week that he had 17.7 points last week. So I was hoping he was going to keep that momentum going. And it just clearly didn't happen. I watched the play. One catch, loses 4 yards. And I was like, well, at least I'll get something positive out of it. And God, no, he was projected 10.4 points in that game. So yeah, did not nearly live up to that expectation. Then the week before, he ends up getting 16 as well against Seattle before their bye week. So yeah, it's a rough one.
He's got Tennessee next week though, so
yeah. So it's gonna be fucking Gibbs and Montgomery again. It's gonna be the fucking what they like to be called now is Sonic and Knuckles. So it's gonna be them fucking just running all over Tennessee now. So.
Dude, those two are unstoppable, man.
I'm gonna have to find a new fucking tight end. Probably have to find a new wide receiver. Granted, Williams isn't my usual starter. I put him in the flex spot this week because DJ Moore was out from a bye. But
yeah,
I mean, I'm pretty sure I lost. The Ravens game ended, just so everyone's aware. The Ravens won 41-31, and that also did change our scores a little bit. So Lamar Jackson's now the highest scorer at 34.44. Rashad White, Tampa's running back, 29.1. And surprisingly, Henry did not crack the top 5.
Really? He must be right outside of it then. Because last I checked, he was like 20-some points. 24.
Yeah, 25.4. Hold on one second.
Okay. Yeah, it's easy to be the lead scorer when you throw 5 touchdowns in a game for Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
So... yeah, he threw
he's
5
sitting.
touchdowns.
He's within the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He's top 10. He's literally at the 10th spot.
Okay,
but it's just because he's tied with Amon-Ra St. Brown at 25.2 apiece. So just a point out of beating Javonte Williams from Denver. But yeah. All right. Next thing. All right. Bets for next week. I don't know if you put any in while you were in Vegas or looked at any before you did for this past week. Did you do any betting this week?
I did not do any betting. I couldn't do any betting on DraftKings in Vegas for some reason. So
I mean, you're in Vegas. You could have literally gone into.
I know. That's what I wanted to do. I really wanted to do it, but I didn't have time. We ended up just going out and like having a lot of dinner and seeing a lot of sightseeing stuff. We got to see some shows. Played a lot of softball. We played 8 or 9 games of softball. We played a lot.
Well, I mean, yeah, you went to the softball World Series, so
it was fun. We had a fun time.
I'm expecting you. Oh, that'd be like you being like, "Oh yeah, I didn't." Yeah, we didn't play any softball. Actually, we just kind of sat there.
Don't put it by me. I might do that. I'd rather be lazy, just sit there.
But yeah, no, I didn't end up putting any bets in. I was looking at the 49er game to pull against the Chiefs, or not pull against the Chiefs. I'm sorry, because the 49ers were the favorites in that game last week. The reason I remember that is because it's in the notes I had from last week's episode that we didn't do. But I think Chiefs were plus 200 underdogs in that one, which would have been one that I was looking at. I don't know, something about San Fran this season just isn't impressing me at the moment.
Yeah, they looked solid at the beginning of the year. They look like one of those old teams that they put together a solid offense, have a good defense, but then it just the seams fell apart.
Injuries plagued them. Their defense isn't the same.
Yeah.
Ayuk's out for the season now with an ACL tear.
Yeah.
Debo, I think, ran 2 routes and then went out with a sickness or an illness, is what they said. So I mean, it's just. And then you have CMC, who's supposedly going to come back after the bye week in, I think, 2 weeks. So keep an eye out for that after this upcoming week.
Yeah. Hashtag where's CMC? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, tell me about it. I have fucking number 1 pick in like half my leagues, and obviously picked CMC thinking he was going to be my saving grace on my team, and man hasn't touched the fucking field. So yeah, that's super great. But going into the bets for this week, I've got Niners at minus 245 favorites against the Cowboys. Honestly, Dallas is at plus 200. I would legitimately looking at picking Dallas. I know Dallas isn't great offensively right now, and they're still having some issues offensively and defensively as well, for that matter. They're definitely not the team that they were, but neither of those two teams at the moment are.
No.
Good NFC rivalry. Two classic teams. Everybody thinks, all the Super Bowls both these teams have won. Granted, they were, a while ago, but still. That'd be one I would look at.
Yeah, I think the Cowboys have a solid offense this year, better than the 49ers. Their defense is pretty consistent. So, I mean, my odds here in DraftKings say plus 180 right now for the money line, but
I did that this morning, so they might have changed.
I think that is a good bet. I like that. I'll take that bet.
Yeah, I would look at Cowboys. Yep, I'm seeing it now too, plus 180. Even the spread's only 5 points. Over under's 47. I don't see that game being that high. 47 points scored, but crazier shit's happened. Yeah, especially this season. I still don't really know what to fucking think about who's the dominant teams. And I mean, granted, Ravens look like the dominant team, but that's neither here nor there now. Granted, after the rough start, but I got Bills 148 favorites over the Seahawks. The over-under on that one, 48.5. Let me make sure that hasn't changed.
It's
47.5
47.5 now, yeah.
I mean, Bills both teams have scored over 30.
Bills are only 3-point favorites. I don't know about that, because the Seahawks look pretty legit this year. Watching their scores with Geno Smith at the helm, they just took down the Falcons 34-14.
Yeah, both teams have scored over 30 points the last 2 weeks. So
yeah,
maybe I think it's gonna be a shootout. That's what I'm thinking. Definitely the over at 47.5. It's minus 110 odds, but hey, a little bit of money is better than no money. So
very good. Yeah, very very true.
Bears and Washington's another one that I'm interested in, just because I think that's it. This is all pending Jaden Daniels.
It's about so
the odds have shifted. When I did this and I typed this up this morning, it was Bears minus 115, Washington minus 105. As of right now, it's Bears minus 148, Commanders at plus 124. And I think that's leaning more toward on the fact that Daniels, they're kind of questionable about with this whole oblique injury that he's got right now and rib injury. So, and then I even put it actually in the notes that if Daniels doesn't play, then it odds shift in favor of the Bears. But Mariota did look good. Again, granted, that was against Carolina. And, I mean, I think if we got 11 people right now, I think we could look decent against Carolina the way they're playing.
Yeah.
As much as it pains me to say that.
That's a very valid point. Yeah, Carolina. I mean, honestly, the same thing with the Browns, man. Like, whatever. Why do we pick the shitty team, Sully? Why can't we be like Bills fans or fucking Cowboys fans? Well, you know what? Actually, I take it back. Fuck the Cowboys. But
I'll say my dad's a Cowboys fan. I was a Cowboys fan for a long time and got off that shit real quick.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be worse. We could be Giants fans.
Oh, God. At this point, though, man, the Giants are looking pretty good, in my opinion. They have more wins than the Browns.
They scored 3 points this last fucking week. 3 points.
Yeah, okay, look, yeah. Okay.
Looking good.
Okay.
I mean, they did play the Eagles, but still.
Yeah, exactly.
They're looking good. Fuck out of here. Fucking team can't even get double digits.
The Browns just played the Eagles last week, and the only touchdown they scored was off of a blocked field goal.
So you're telling me right now that the Browns scored more points against the Eagles?
They did, but then the Giants destroyed the Browns at home. So, yeah,
I need to like come up with one of those charts that's like, this team beats this team, who beats this team, and just like do it.
It's just a giant fucking circle. It's just a giant circle. It all ends up at the back at the same starting point.
Yep.
It's ridiculous how that shit works.
Yeah. I mean, unless you got any other bet stuff, I think we can go talk about recaps and possibly just any other random shit. I think we're probably about a half hour into this episode, kind of plowed through a lot happened today, but also or over the week. But we also had 2 games that were playing during, so that's one less game we've been covering during this. But I mean,
yeah,
I mean, I'm good. Giants and Steelers on our Monday night game. Oh God, you're fucking kidding me.
That's
I
going to
mean,
be a fun game to watch and talk about during our podcast next week. That'll be exciting.
yeah, I mean, I talk about him in our game recap here. I mean, I guess we'll just start talking about him now. Fuck it. Steelers, man. What's your thought on old Tomlin benching Justin Fields after he started in favor of Russell Wilson?
I don't know why. I know they were back and forth on the idea. Obviously, it worked out. Hindsight, it worked out. But my opinion is why change it if it's working? You know,
100%.
I think Justin Fields kind of got some confidence back. He didn't really have it in Chicago when he was there. And now that he's in a new place under a new establishment, which is a good head coach that's obviously knows what he's doing. He's got 2 really good quarterbacks, which is something I can't even say for Cleveland because we're down to Jameis Winston and DTR. But I don't know. The other thing too is that to see Russell Wilson come in and people are like, "Oh, he looks so good," and he blah blah blah. Calm down, man. He played the Jets.
Yeah, who wouldn't know what they were last season by any stretch of the imagination.
Right.
And on top of that, there were some throws that Russ had that were just god awful. Yeah. There was a couple that I saw that I would have been like, if I was the head coach, I would have been like, all right, cool, Fields, get your ass back in there. Like, no, this isn't working.
And this is coming off of a solid. I mean, now granted, he makes the throws, sure, but I mean, Pickens had like 111 yards or something like that with a touchdown, and then Najee Harris had 102 rushing yards. So Russell is just getting them the ball, and they're doing their magic. You know, he's not throwing that ball 111 yards, but Justin Fields could have done the same thing and more because he adds a little bit more of that rushing factor that you have to worry about when keeping an eye on him because he can scramble a little bit.
Yeah, Russ went 16 for 29 for 264 and 2 touchdowns. And yeah, like you said, Harris had carried the ball 21 times for 102 yards and a touchdown. And then yeah, Pickens 5 receptions, 111 for a touchdown. And Russ did run for a TD. So 3 total TDs from Russ, but I agree with you. I still think you lead with the hot hand. Whatever hand, whoever's doing the best, which at the time I thought Justin Fields. There was, everyone's sitting there saying, oh, Russ hasn't played a game since I think they said Christmas Eve of last year was the last time he actually played in a game. So, yeah, everybody talks about like ring rust with fighters or boxers or MMA fighters, whatever. It's you get the same thing too. You're running through practice. It's not the same pace. It's not the same tempo as an actual NFL game is when it's regular season. Yeah, and it definitely looked like it showed last night in the Steelers game. But I still I agree with you. I don't think they should have made the switch. Obviously, everyone's gonna be like, oh, he's a genius now for putting Russ in because he actually went in and won the game. But you look on the flip side of that, Devontae Adams comes into New York. Everyone's expecting this to be like the savior, and the man had 3 receptions for 30 yards on 9 targets. Which is the same as Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall for targets.
Right.
So your defense wasn't doing, for the Jets at least, wasn't doing what they normally have been doing this season in general. Aaron Rodgers goes out. I'm not going to say he got the head coach fired a few weeks back, but we all kind of know that wherever Aaron Rodgers goes, he kind of runs the show more than anything. I think everyone can kind of agree with that and can see it.
Yeah. And it wasn't a surprise to see Robert Saleh lose his job because the Jets haven't performed well, but it's at the same time, like when I saw that he got fired, was it 2 weeks ago he got fired? 3 weeks ago?
Yep, 2.
When I saw that he got fired, I was kind of upset at the fact that they fired him because you're at that point 5 weeks into the season and you've only played 5 games and a couple of snaps with Aaron Rodgers. because last year he didn't play at all because he got hurt in the first game of the season. Mm-hmm. So I wish they would have given Robert Saleh a little bit more time because I liked his mentality. I liked the fact that he could keep the Jets afloat. He could win key games to kind of keep up some of the hype.
I mean, they've won 2 games all season. So.
Well, but if you look at the games that they've won, let me pull up their schedule. It was okay, never mind.
This man was about to try to disprove me and looked at his own thing. I was like, yep, nope.
I stand corrected. Yeah, it's the Titans and the Patriots. I'll shut the fuck up now.
Yeah. So, I mean, shit, we can go beat the Patriots right now. Shit, we'll play the Patriots after we play the Patriots. So, yeah, I mean, what surprised me the most is the fact that Nathaniel Hackett, their former offensive coordinator and play caller, didn't get fired. He just got relieved of his play calling duties. Like, in what fucking world does that make sense to you where you go, oh, yeah, we're going to demote you but not fire you when your offense has been hot garbage, to describe it at best?
Yeah.
Like, and that's, I think that leads into Aaron Rodgers just being boys with Nathaniel Hackett. And I don't know, they have like a weird like relationship with each other as far as like he wants to go wherever Hackett goes and Hackett wants to go wherever Rodgers goes, which, I mean, cool. I mean, I guess it worked in Green Bay to a degree. And then you also have Rodgers going through and just trashing all of the receivers that he had in Green Bay for the most part, saying that they couldn't catch a fucking ball, this, that, and the other. And yet most of those fucking receivers are on the Jets now.
Including their new pickup, Devontae Adams, which I feel like he's a little worried he might have made a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, the man lost last week against the Steelers when he was a Raider. Gets traded thinking he's going to be, doing great here, and then loses to the fucking Steelers again. So 2 weeks in a row, you lose to the Steelers on 2 separate teams. But, yeah, I mean, hopefully their offense gets it together. I mean, obviously, fucking Breece Hall had, what the hell did we say, 25 points, almost 26 points, something like that. And Garrett Wilson, who I have, has fucking nothing. So this has just been fucking fantastic. And I'm about to lose my fantasy league. One of my fantasy leagues.
Breathe, Sully, breathe. Woosa, woosa.
I think I'm 3 or 4. You're in that league with me, motherfucker. That league. I'm about to just drop everybody and just re-fucking pick everybody off the waiver wire. Fuck it. When my first fucking pick, CMC, went down, I was like, well, this is already going to be a long fucking season. So, and here we are. We're not even fucking just wrapping up a 6th of the way through it. And yeah.
Jeez, I didn't know talking about Russell Wilson would send you into a spiral. I didn't know. I'm sorry.
Yeah, John. Sorry. Got me all fucking angry. Even
yeah, you're red in the face.
Russell Wilson, you did shit in Denver. Realistically, he got a shit ton of money there. The Steelers, I would say, get a steal in him. If Fields sucks, they can always just bring in Russell and see what happens. Since I think he's playing for like the league minimum for a veteran of like how many ever fucking $1 million he's playing to fucking potentially be a backup. But yeah, all right, I'm not talking about the fucking Steelers before I get myself all worked up again.
Well, you got to think too that his contract is also being extremely low from the Steelers because he's still getting paid by the Broncos. So sure, he's getting paid really low on paper by the Steelers, but he's also paying a lot. He's getting paid a lot by the Broncos still.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on to your team since I got all fucking up over here. All right, Bengals 21 to the Browns 14. Joe Burrow 15 for 25, 181 yards, 2 TDs. Those touchdowns went to T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. Naturally, dudes I don't have. And then they had the kickoff return for the touchdown to open the game. We kind of briefly touched on earlier with leg injuries when Chris Godwin unfortunately went down. But Deshaun Watson goes down with an Achilles tear. And I mean, I don't know what your thought is, being a Cleveland fan, especially the fact that, what's a JTR or whatever?
DTR.
Yeah, DTR.
Darius Thompson.
Backup.
Yeah. It was kind of weird how they shifted their roster around because Jameis Winston was the 2nd string and then DTR was the 3rd string. And then right before the game, they moved DTR to the 2nd string and Winston to the 3rd string. I don't know. They're kind of looking at that like,
my God, Sorry. I'm looking at the fantasy league that I honestly thought I lost. I very easily should have lost this fucking game. I'm going to win by 0.36 points.
Wow.
I absolutely should have lost this fucking game.
He doesn't have the kicker, does he?
No,
Arizona's about to kick to win this game off the kickoff.
No, he's got Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. I absolutely should have lost this game 100%, especially after I saw my tight end get 3.5 points and my receiver get 2. So, and Jameson Williams got 0.6. So, thank God. Granted, he did have a lot of bye weeks and such. I was talking to him before. He's one of my good buddies, and he even said, he was like, week 7 is the week that I play you, and I have a bunch of bye weeks and stuff. So I was like, well,
you know what, man? A win's a win.
Yeah, see if I can pull off the win, which managed to do it. Luckily, I did. The fact that I even have fucking now, I guess 4 wins in this league is fucking impressive. I definitely shouldn't. But anyway, yeah, going back to the Browns and Bagels game. Nick Chubb comes back, scores a touchdown.
Yeah, I missed that, man.
He's just a brutal fucking leg injury.
So yeah, against the Steelers, we were just talking about them. Yeah, that was that injury. I watched that happen live last year. That was a gnarly injury. Yeah, he. I know that he's been since the beginning of the season. He was, he had a potential to come back a lot earlier in the year, but I think he was just holding himself back because he wasn't quite ready. And he wanted to show up and just kind of be his old self, which he was welcomed back in Cleveland with a touchdown. So it's good to see his old self back, scoring points for Cleveland. It wasn't enough, but you never know. But you said it right before we were talking about your fantasy win. I'm blanking.
We're talking about the
Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun
Watson,
and like the order of who was their depth chart. There we go.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson's out for the year. Jameis Winston came in and threw a touchdown. Wasn't for much because it was only with a couple minutes left in the game. But yeah, I don't know. I at the beginning of the year, I would have said, okay, yeah, I like Jameis Winston better than Deshaun Watson. Don't get me wrong, I don't like Deshaun Watson, but I just know that Jameis Winston, you're gonna get what you pay for, and in him, you're gonna get a lot of touchdowns, and you're gonna pay for him with interceptions.
Yeah, but at least you know that though. That's like the main difference. Like like hey, we could have a week where this dude goes out, throws for 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, 4 picks, we somehow win the game, compared to what I don't even fucking know Deshaun Watson's stats. I think we talked about him like 2 weeks ago, but
yeah,
it just fucking atrocious. Like,
yeah, I agree. It is good to know that. Maybe it's something that they can kind of play into. The Browns do have a pretty good defense this year. They still have a solid-ish defense when it comes to their their secondary. And then their pass rusher, Myles Garrett, I think it's a pretty good opportunity for them to continue to put the pressure on. But unfortunately, they allow a lot of points. So if Jameis Winston's going to throw interceptions that are going to turn into points for the other team, he himself is also going to have to make some magic happen on the offensive side of the ball. So
and then you guys also lose Amari Cooper last week with that trade as well too. So now you got Jerry Jeudy as your number 1 receiver basically.
Yeah. I don't foresee the Browns being a buyer at the trade deadline. I foresee them. Honestly, they might get rid of Myles Garrett, is what I hear. That's something that we can look at losing him at the trade deadline. I think we're going to stay with Jameis Winston for the rest of the year. Or you might see DTR hop in for a couple extra reps, but maybe in garbage time. But I just don't see the Browns bouncing back from this 1-6 start and being competitive. They're looking like the old Browns again, and it all starts with what we used to call the QB carousel. They have too many people moving around at the QB line. They don't have a solid receiving core that they can trust. They don't have I mean, I just said they have a rock solid defense, but I mean, maybe that's a little bit of an overestimation. But it's just overall they just don't look good. They're not there this year.
No shit, no. I mean, granted, I'm in no room to talk with my team, but yeah, yeah, we already kind of talked on the Packers beating the Texans, that being a last second field goal type of a game, and then Detroit beating the undefeated at the time Vikings 31-29, another classic shootout, divisional games. I mean, I think this is going to be one of the times that potentially this division could have all four teams make the playoffs. Green Bay sitting at 5-2. Minnesota, 5-1 now. Detroit 5-2 as well. Detroit's leading the division, and then the Bears sitting at 4-2, coming off the bye this upcoming week. So that division's going to get interesting, I think. And I'm kind of honestly excited to see how that division plays out. Pulling for the Lions.
Yeah, that's going to be a really good. That's going to be a really good division. They're all separated by what one game.
Yeah, like I potentially that all four teams can make the play. I could see it, but
hey, Carolina's 1-6. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, are we surprised? Was that trying to take a shot at me? Like,
well, I mean, a little bit, but I mean, I thought y'all had 2 wins.
Shit, no, dude. There's what game a couple weeks ago? I think it was. Ah, shit. I gotta look at our schedule. Hold on. Where the fuck is it? The Chargers game, I think honestly this was granted a few weeks ago. I was optimistic. I was looking at the schedule. Beginning of the year, I was talking to my wife, and I was like, realistically, I think we can finish 10-7 this year, which was fucking way more optimistic than I probably should have been.
Honestly,
way more fucking optimistic. But I mean, if you look at the okay, hold on. This beginning of the year, right? We'll focus on my team for a little bit. I'll stop shitting on yours for a minute. Now we can talk about my shit ass team for a little bit. Get me all fucking fired up too. So week 1 against New Orleans, divisional game, right? No big deal. We got our ass waxed 47-10. But again, beginning of the year, I kind of figured we were going to split with the Saints. Just for some reason, it just seems to be how our division games go. So I was like, that game could go either way. That game at New Orleans, I was probably chalking that one up as a loss. Could have won. I was predicting hopefully for a win. Chargers, same thing. Obviously, we lose that game.
Not even scoring a touchdown that game. Just throwing it out there.
Nope. We pulled the New York Giants this week. that week. So I was expecting a win. Chargers don't look great. All their offensive weapons are pretty much gone. Granted, they, J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards, but guys that stay injured. We all know Harbaugh's more of a running coach now. Granted, we can't stop the run to save our fucking lives, but still, I was like, all right, cool. I'm gonna chalk that up as a win. Raiders, we win that game. That was one I was expecting. Cincinnati, I was thinking could have gone either way. And then Bears was another one I was thinking. Realistically, I don't think we could have won that game. Falcons game, I didn't think they were going to play the way they're playing now. All right, cool. I was thinking we were going to win that. And then Washington game, this is before that whole offense just got it rolling. So I was like, that might be a game because I think everyone was kind of writing off the Commanders at the time, beginning of the season, for being honest. And I was like, all right, cool. So we should have that. So I was like, 2 losses out of, the first 7 weeks. All right, cool. And then going into Denver, that was another game that I thought that, okay, we could have had. Now, I mean, that's next week. I think Denver whoops our ass. I think the spread's probably, I don't even know what the fucking spread is for that game since it's this upcoming week.
It's only like 5 points, 8 points.
There's no fucking way it's only 8 points.
8 points. Broncos are 8-point favorites.
Holy shit. Okay.
Are you telling me I should take that favorite? Because I will. I fucking will.
They're minus 410 fucking favorites. Holy shit. Oh, God, that's disappointing to look at. Yeah. So I was like, okay. At the time, again, so the beginning of the year, I was like, cool, we'll win that game. Saints, this will be the one that we split with. Giants should be able to beat that. This is the Germany game before we go into our bye week. The way it's looking, fuck, if that game doesn't end in like 3-0 or 6-3, be fucking surprised.
That's going to be the one game this year where y'all go, it's going to be like 42-45.
Yeah, just some fucking crazy shit that happens. That'll be the luck that happens. But, so yeah, going into this, I was like, okay, cool. Like those are at the time, the beginning of the season, I was like, those are winnable games. We have our bye week, and then the fucking gauntlet from hell starts. Kansas City Chiefs, Tampa Bay, the Eagles, Cowboys, and then we have Cardinals week 16. And then we play Tampa, and then we end with the Falcons. So I was like, if we could get to that point where, up to week 11 into our bye where we've only lost two games, I was like, fuck, dude, we're in contention to win the division. Or at least be in fucking contention to take it. And now I'm looking at it, look at this fucking schedule. I'm like, we're going to be in contention to win maybe fucking 2 games. And that's an if. That's if we beat the Giants.
Yeah, but that's a big if, though.
I mean, we're not going to beat the Broncos. I've fucking already accepted this. Then we have the Saints, which, granted, I even think if Carr is not playing, they're still going to fucking beat us. We can't.
Y'all just don't know how to beat New Orleans. That's just something y'all don't know how to do.
We seem to split the series with them every season for whatever fucking reason. I don't know why. But Alvin Kamara, running back, we are just ass at stopping the run. So dude's going to have fucking 350 fucking total yards on us by halftime. So fucking 8 touchdowns. Like, Jesus. If you have Alvin Kamara week 9, fucking November 3rd, fucking play him because he's playing the Panthers, and we suck ass at stopping the run. So there's that. And then the Giants, dude, I fucking don't know. I'm hoping that running back that they fucking played, I have him in one of my fantasy leagues. I just picked him up last week. Where is he? Tracy Jr.
I was just looking at the matchup for the New Orleans Saints and the Panthers, and I guess it's showing me like the season statistics and not just for the game, because it said Andy Dalton has 106 completions for 160 attempts for 989 yards and 7 touchdowns. And I was like, how the fuck did he throw for 989 yards in one fucking game?
Man's the GOAT, dude. Fucking red rifle, dude. Man's the GOAT. I mean, hell, that's what I would have fucking said after the Raiders game, and fucking here we are in a 1, 2, 3, 4 game, probably a 5 game skid after next week, 6 potentially after the Saints game. So, yeah, I'll and of course the week 10 game, it's in Germany against the Giants, so it's a kickoff 9 a.m. 9:30 Eastern time, so 6:30 Pacific time where I'm at. So yeah, I get to wake up and watch the fucking most boring fucking over the seas game.
And it's going to set you off in a depressed mood for the rest of the day, too.
It's just going to piss me off. It's not going to send me in a depressed mood. I'm just going to be pissed the rest of the fucking day. Granted, I don't think we're definitely not going to have anybody from Germany listening to this, but in the off chance we did, just let me apologize now that this is the game that we give you all, the Panthers versus the Giants. just let me apologize now for this on behalf of all Giants and Panther fans. Just know that we didn't want that game to be the game that you all get.
Well, we'll see what happens. We get 2 weeks or 2 or 3 weeks away from it. So
yeah, and again, unless this just happens to be a fucking just 55-50 game, which I know is not going to happen, then cool. But it's not going to be.
But it might.
Get me all riled up at the end of the fucking podcast, man. Get me all fucking riled up, dude. Get me all fucking ready to go.
I can't let you go for the next week without thinking about how shitty the Panthers are.
Riled fucking... Oh, dude, I don't need to think about it. I know how fucking shitty they are.
Now I want you to talk about it and let your feeling... This is more of... Instead of it being like an informative podcast, it's more of a therapeutic podcast.
Yeah, like... oh my god, every fucking year I have hopes and dreams that we're just not going to suck, and I thought with the way this year lined up, like game wise, I was like, holy shit, this might be a year we start off decently, and fuck was I wrong.
That's okay. That's okay. Now that I know that you're in competition with us and the Patriots for the first round draft pick, I'm gonna start. Now I got to start rooting for you.
I think Carolina is sitting at 5th draft right now because it's like based on strength of schedule now. And like 5 of us have a tie. So I think it's us, you guys. Oh shit, we just talked the Patriots, and I'm trying to remember who else is like 1 and fucking whatever. That might actually be the
The Titans are 1-5.
Let me.
But I mean, honestly, the AFC East is already locked up by the Bills. They're 5-2. Then you got the Dolphins, the Jets, and the Pats are all 2-4, 2-5, and 1-6.
Well, it's crazy to think about the game last week for the Bills and Jets. That was for the first place in the division.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to sit there and think about. I mean, granted, obviously, Bills won this week, Jets lost last week, and then the same thing happens again this week. So that puts a little bit more separation in. But it's crazy to think that just last week, that game was for currently first in the division, halfway, a third of the way through the season.
Yeah. And it was only a 3-point game at that, too.
Like, where the fuck?
Yeah. I think the next couple of weeks, it's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun football.
Okay, so all right, I got the draft order as of right now, and then
all right.
We'll end our podcast on this fucking very sad and shitty note. So Patriots would have number 1 as of the way they sit right now. Carolina number 2. This says team needs. It says like QB, wide receiver, inside line. Like it's just say everything at this point. Browns at 3, Titans 4, Jets 5, Saints 6. I'll just do top 10. Jags, Raiders at 8, Giants at 9, and then Dolphins at 10.
Really, the Dolphins are 10th. Wow,
that's kind of figured they would be a little bit. Granted, they had a bye week, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams that are 2-4, 2-5. That's the Cardinals one doesn't reflect the win that they just had over the Chargers a second ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And then Raiders lost. I don't think this also includes the Jaguars win on Sunday morning either. No, it should. Yeah, we're week 7, so yeah, that
yeah, they're 2-5.
Yeah, that computes. So yeah, I think it's just like the games that like played today, which is just those 2 teams, but or 4 teams. But yeah, so yeah, that's where we're looking. And then of course we gave up our next year's second round draft pick to the Bears, so they might be getting a pretty good spot from us unless we just start trading everybody away and trying to recoup some of that and go into basically just another rebuild, just an extended rebuild is all we're doing. Every year it's a new year for rebuilds, and every year I think it's going to be different, and it's fucking not, and here we are.
That's all right. Keep your head up. You'll learn one day.
Yep, one day, man. I keep watching this fucking team beginning to end every week, and like an idiot thinking something's going to change, and then I'm like, oh, it didn't. Look at that.
Yeah, you guys are probably about to start a QB carousel unless you can get Bryce Young back on the saddle, because Andy Dalton doesn't have much time left in the league. And if Bryce Young doesn't survive, then y'all are going to get a draft pick, probably some rookie that, they're hit or miss, but most of the time they're miss the drafts. So
yeah,
we'll see. Well, Sully, anything else we need to talk about this evening?
No, man. I think that's pretty much it. I mean,
we covered our high scores, we covered our low scores, we covered our bets, and we did some game recap stuff as well. We didn't do injuries.
Yeah, I mean,
we didn't do really
I covered one big fucking injury that happened with Chris Godwin. So
yeah, that's all right.
And then we talked about Deshaun Watson, but
I guess we did we all kind of tied them in together. Yeah,
in a roundabout way, they kind of just naturally and organically came up into the podcast. But
yeah, the important ones. Yeah, great. If there's nothing else, Sully, we can send it on out.
Yeah. All right. Well, Zach, it's been a pleasure as always. I'm glad that we're back doing this weekly again.
Yep.
We'll be back next Monday, same time, same place. And then the following week, so in 2 weeks, I'll be in Mexico, but I should be able to record at least for like 30, 45 minutes or so, hopefully.
Yeah, and if not, I'll blabber on for 30, 45 minutes by myself.
Yeah, I should be able to come in. I'll have, headset and headphones and my phone on me with Discord. So it'll be good to record that way, hopefully. And then, Same time, same place next week. Everybody, thank you again for listening. If you tuned into us blabbering on for the last hour plus, we do appreciate it. Give us a like, comment, whatever you guys want. If there's stuff you guys want on the podcast that we haven't talked about, please let us know. And we will see you guys next week. Thank you.
Thank y'all very much.